Hijack number 3, fear of missing something important, FOMSI. Another way apps and websites hijack people's minds is by inducing a 1% chance you could be missing something important. If I convince you that I'm a channel for important information, messages, friendships, or potential sexual opportunities, it will be hard for you to turn me off, unsubscribe, or remove your account, because aha, I win, you might miss something important. This keeps us subscribed to newsletters even after they haven't delivered recent benefits. What if I miss a future announcement? This keeps us friended to people with whom we haven't spoken in ages. What if I miss something important from them? This keeps us swiping faces on dating apps, even when we haven't even met up with anyone in a while. What if I miss that one hot match who likes me? This keeps us using social media. What if I miss that important news story or fall behind what my friends are talking about? But if we zoom into that fear, we'll discover that it's unbounded. We'll always miss something important at any point when we stop using something. There are magic moments on Facebook we'll miss by not using it for the 6th hour, e.g. an old friend who's visiting town right now. There are magic moments we'll miss on Tinder, e.g. our dream romantic partner, by not swiping our 700th match. There are emergency phone calls we'll miss if we're not connected 24/7. But living moment to moment with the fear of missing something isn't how we're built to live. And it's amazing how quickly, once we let go of that fear, we wake up from the illusion. When we unplug for more than a day, unsubscribe from those notifications, or go to camp grounded, the concerns we thought we'd have don't actually happen. We don't miss what we don't see. The thought, what if I miss something important, is generated in advance of unplugging, unsubscribing, or turning off, not after. Imagine if tech companies recognized that, and helped us proactively tune our relationships with friends and businesses in terms of what we define as time well spent for our lives, instead of in terms of what we might miss. Hijack number 4, social approval. We're all vulnerable to social approval. The need to belong, to be approved or appreciated by our peers is among the highest human motivations. But now our social approval is in the hands of tech companies. When I get tagged by my friend Mark, I imagine him making a conscious choice to tag me. But I don't see how a company like Facebook orchestrated his doing that in the first place. Facebook, Instagram or Snapchat can manipulate how often people get tagged in photos by automatically suggesting all the faces people should tag, e.g. by showing a box with a one-click confirmation, tag Tristan in this photo? So when Mark tags me, he's actually responding to Facebook's suggestion, not making an independent choice. But through design choices like this, Facebook controls the multiplier for how often millions of people experience their social approval on the line. The same happens when we change our main profile photo. Facebook knows that's a moment when we're vulnerable to social approval. What do my friends think of my new pic? Facebook can rank this higher in the news feed, so it sticks around for longer and more friends will like or comment on it. Each time they like or comment on it, we'll get pulled right back. Everyone innately responds to social approval, but some demographics, teenagers, are more vulnerable to it than others. That's why it's so important to recognize how powerful designers are when they exploit this vulnerability. Hijack number 5, social reciprocity, tit for tat. You do me a favor, I owe you one next time. You say, thank you, I have to say, you're welcome. You send me an email, it's rude not to get back to you. You follow me, it's rude not to follow you back. Especially for teenagers. We are vulnerable to needing to reciprocate others' gestures. But as with social approval, tech companies now manipulate how often we experience it. In some cases, it's by accident. Email, texting and messaging apps are social reciprocity factories. But in other cases, companies exploit this vulnerability on purpose. LinkedIn is the most obvious offender. LinkedIn wants as many people creating social obligations for each other as possible, because each time they reciprocate by accepting a connection, responding to a message, or endorsing someone back for a skill, they have to come back to LinkedIn.com where they can get people to spend more time. Like Facebook, LinkedIn exploits an asymmetry in perception. When you receive an invitation from someone to connect, you imagine that person making a conscious choice to invite you, when in reality, they likely unconsciously responded to LinkedIn's list of suggested contacts. In other words, LinkedIn turns your unconscious impulses to add a person into new social obligations that millions of people feel obligated to repay. All while they profit from the time people spend doing it. Imagine millions of people getting interrupted like this throughout their day, running around like chickens with their heads cut off, reciprocating each other, all designed by companies who profit from it. Welcome to social media. Imagine if technology companies had a responsibility to minimize social reciprocity. Or if there was an independent organization that represented the public's interests, an industry consortium or an FDA for tech, that monitored when technology companies abused these biases? Hijack number 6, bottomless bowls, infinite feeds, and autoplay. Another way to hijack people is to keep them consuming things, even when they aren't hungry anymore. How? Easy. Take an experience that was bounded and finite, and turn it into a bottomless flow that keeps going. Cornell professor Brian Wansink demonstrated this in his study, showing you can trick people into keep eating soup by giving them a bottomless bowl that automatically refills as they eat. With bottomless bowls, people eat 73% more calories than those with normal bowls and underestimate how many calories they ate by 140 calories. Tech companies exploit the same principle. News feeds are purposely designed to auto-refill with reasons to keep you scrolling, and purposely eliminate any reason for you to pause, reconsider or leave. It's also why video and social media sites like Netflix, YouTube or Facebook autoplay the next video after a countdown instead of waiting for you to make a conscious choice, in case you won't. A huge portion of traffic on these websites is driven by autoplaying the next thing. Tech companies often claim that we're just making it easier for users to see the video they want to watch, when they are actually serving their business interests. And you can't blame them, because increasing time spent is the currency they compete for. Instead, imagine if technology companies empowered you to consciously bound your experience to align with what would be time well spent for you. Not just bounding the quantity of time you spend, but the qualities of what would be time well spent. Hijack number 7, instant interruption versus respectful delivery. Companies know that messages that interrupt people immediately are more persuasive at getting people to respond than messages delivered asynchronously, like email or any deferred inbox. Given the choice, Facebook Messenger, or WhatsApp, WeChat or Snapchat for that matter, would prefer to design their messaging system to interrupt recipients immediately, and show a chat box, instead of helping users respect each other's attention. In other words, interruption is good for business. It's also in their interest to heighten the feeling of urgency and social reciprocity. For example, Facebook automatically tells the sender when you saw their message, instead of letting you avoid disclosing whether you read it. Now that you know I've seen the message, I feel even more obligated to respond. By contrast, Apple more respectfully lets users toggle read receipts on or off. The problem is, maximizing interruptions in the name of business creates a tragedy of the commons, ruining global attention spans and causing billions of unnecessary interruptions each day. This is a huge problem we need to fix with shared design standards, potentially, as part of time well spent. Hijack number 8, bundling your reasons with their reasons. Another way apps hijack you is by taking your reasons for visiting the app to perform a task, and make them inseparable from the app's business reasons, maximizing how much we consume once we're there. For example, in the physical world of grocery stores, the number 1 and number 2 most popular reasons to visit are pharmacy refills and buying milk. But grocery stores want to maximize how much people buy, so they put the pharmacy and the milk at the back of the store. In other words, they make the thing customers want, milk, pharmacy, inseparable from what the business wants. If stores were truly organized to support people, they would put the most popular items in the front. Tech companies design their websites the same way. For example, when you want to look up a Facebook event happening tonight, your reason, the Facebook app doesn't allow you to access it without first landing on the news feed, their reasons, and that's on purpose. Facebook wants to convert every reason you have for using Facebook into their reason, which is to maximize the time you spend consuming things. Instead, imagine if Twitter gave you a separate way to post a tweet than having to see their news feed. Facebook gave a separate way to look up Facebook events going on tonight, without being forced to use their newsfeed. Facebook gave you a separate way to use Facebook Connect as a passport for creating new accounts on third-party apps and websites, without being forced to install Facebook's entire app, news feed and notifications. In a time well spent world, there is always a direct way to get what you want separately from what businesses want. Imagine a digital bill of rights outlining design standards that forced the products used by billions of people to let them navigate directly to what they want without needing to go through intentionally placed distractions. Hijack number 9, inconvenient choices. We're told that it's enough for businesses to make choices available. If you don't like it, you can always use a different product. If you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. If you're addicted to our app, you can always uninstall it from your phone. Businesses naturally want to make the choices they want you to make easier, and the choices they don't want you to make harder. Magicians do the same thing. You make it easier for a spectator to pick the thing you want them to pick, and harder to pick the thing you don't. For example, nytimes.com lets you make a free choice to cancel your digital subscription. But instead of just doing it when you hit cancel subscription, they send you an email with information on how to cancel your account by calling a phone number that's only open at certain times. Instead of viewing the world in terms of availability of choices, we should view the world in terms of friction required to enact choices. Imagine a world where choices were labeled with how difficult they were to fulfill, like coefficients of friction, and there was an independent entity, an industry consortium or nonprofit, that labeled these difficulties and set standards for how easy navigation should be. Hijack number 10, forecasting errors, foot in the door, strategies. Lastly, apps can exploit people's inability to forecast the consequences of a click. People don't intuitively forecast the true cost of a click when it's presented to them. Salespeople use foot-in-the-door techniques by asking for a small innocuous request to begin with just one click to see which tweet got retweeted, and escalate from there. Why don't you stay a while? Virtually all engagement websites use this trick. Imagine if web browsers and smartphones, the gateways through which people make these choices, were truly watching out for people and help them forecast the consequences of clicks based on real data about what benefits and costs it actually had. That's why I add estimated reading time to the top of my posts. When you put the true cost of a choice in front of people, you're treating your users or audience with dignity and respect. In a time well spent internet, choices could be framed in terms of projected cost and benefit, so people were empowered to make informed choices by default, not by doing extra work. Summary and how we can fix this. Are you upset that technology hijacks your agency? I am too. I've listed a few techniques, but there are literally thousands. Imagine whole bookshelves, seminars, workshops and trainings that teach aspiring tech entrepreneurs techniques like these. Imagine hundreds of engineers whose job every day is to invent new ways to keep you hooked. The ultimate freedom is a free mind, and we need technology that's on our team to help us live, feel, think and act freely. We need our smartphones, notification screens and web browsers to be exoskeletons for our minds and interpersonal relationships that put our values, not our impulses, first. People's time is valuable. And we should protect it with the same rigor as privacy and other digital rights.